I got a few stories that I could share about surviving, about not knowing if I was gonna see the other side or see the next day. But this one in particular, I think it shook me differently because it was just a few years ago. And as a husband, as a father, there's so many things I considered in this experience, but and it started in 2017 where I thought I was just, getting better, trying to get healthy and get fit. But what I recognized was like eventually I was losing crazy weight. I didn't know how to feel. I thought I was just losing weight. But then it got to a point where I was doing nothing and I was losing a pound or two a day. I slowly but surely started recognizing that I was losing my appetite, that I stopped eating as much, to the point where it was hard to eat. You know what I'm saying? I was throwing up, and I didn't tell my wife, I didn't tell my kids. Now mind you, I come from a place where we don't do a whole lot of medicine. I never did medicine like that. I didn't do hospitals like that. Like I said, I got to a point where I started getting real nervous. I couldn't hold down food. I'm literally barely only holding down liquids. And it was concerning. So I decided to tell my wife one night that I had been throwing up and I wasn't able to hold down my food. And she knows me. She know I don't complain about a lot. I'm the kind of person where I kind of muscle through it and just stomach it. But at this point, I'm scared I'm about to die. I'm afraid that I'm about to leave my family and leave them without a whole lot that I had to give. In March, it was so bad that at this point, I'm not even holding down fluids. And so she said, I went to her, I said, babe, it's time to go. And she immediately knew what I was talking about. So that's when she started to really feel it, because she knows me. She knows I'm not trying to push for the hospital. I'm not trying to push for pills and shots. So we loaded up. We loaded up our little kids, Amari and Jason, and we went to urgent care. All I could think about was my kids understanding what's going on with daddy. All I can understand is I don't want my wife to panic. I don't want to feel that fear that she carries, because I'm trying to be strong, hoping that this will be my hope to keep going. I don't know what's happening, but all I can think of is I want to live. So go in there, get the test done, and it came back that I was dehydrated, and I was like, okay, is that all? So they're like, we're gonna run a few more tests, And I just remember the nurse saying, or the doctor coming in and saying, we need to send you to a hospital. And at this point, I'm like, I thought it was just dehydration, that can be fixed, But at this point, now I'm alerted. I see my wife, I look over, she's alerted, she's scared. I can look in her eyes and tell she's trying to be strong, trying to be faithful, but I can tell that she's feeling just what I'm feeling. And I just remember meeting my family at the hospital. They're rushing me, but nobody's saying much. They don't know what's going on, other than the fact that they told me that I had a lot of calcium in my blood, and that wasn't a good thing. It was hypercalcemia. They start running fluids in me, and the doctor comes in and she's starting to talk to us a little bit after a while. My wife is sitting with me. I think we had someone come and grab the kids. So much is going through my head right now. I'm a man of faith, so I'm trying to, lean on God right now, because right now I don't have any time, I don't have any capacity to think about anything else other than, God, you got me. Because if I lean anywhere else, I know it's a wrap for me. Doctor comes in and start asking questions. Of course, my wife is thorough, so she's asking questions. I'm asking questions like, what is it? Have y'all found anything? And she starts talking, And she says, well, there's no easy way to talk about this, but there's a lot of reasons. We don't know what's going on right now, but there are a lot of reasons to cause what's happening to you. And thank God that you got here in time, because you could have died. Like, your levels were so high that most people would go into a coma. And if you found yourself sleeping and going into a coma, you could have died. And she started explaining there's a lot of things that could cause this. And she starts talking leukemia. She starts talking cancers and all of these other things. It's like out of nowhere, I'm face to face with death again. But this time it was in a way I couldn't control. I couldn't wrap my hands around it. I couldn't, meet it face to face. It was in me. And so now I'm looking at my wife and I could start to see her shaking. And all I could think was, man, she's usually the strong one. She's usually the prayer warrior. She's usually the one who's holding us together when things are unstable emotionally and spiritually. So at this point I'm saying, okay, now I go into prayer mode. Because now I'm being strong for her and I'm trying to be strong for me. So I go into prayer mode. So in my head, I'm just thinking all kinds of things. I'm thinking about my life. I'm thinking about where I'm at. I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about my wife. I'm thinking about my legacy. I'm thinking about what could potentially be left behind, what I didn't leave behind. It just really started to play a toll on my heart. But at the same time, like I said, all I could do is lean on God. So I'm praying in my head, I'm praying in my heart. And so my blood was seemingly going back to normal. But they still have no clue on what's that's going on with me. They have no diagnosis right now. So it's hope though. And that's all I needed. I just needed hope. And so it was a prayer answered. I didn't know what it would look like to have my prayer answered in this way, but it was a prayer answered. It showed me that tomorrow I might be able to see my people. I might be able to see my family and see my sons and my daughters smile. I may be able to see my wife and walk around my house, go to the mailbox, do the things I love to do, write, create. And it was a sign. So here I am, maybe like a weekend, and they're telling me like, okay, Mr. Coleman, like, your blood is going back to a rather normal level. We think that you might be able to go home soon. I'm like, okay, cool. Y'all still ain't got no word for me? And true enough, like, it's nothing, no diagnosis. People who are like literally questioning, doctors who are questioning what is going on. Like, and for me, that was different because I assumed this professional's supposed to know what's going on, right? I want to see my devil face to face. I want to look my devil in his eyes so at least I can meet it. I can face it. And this was one devil I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't grasp. I just couldn't. It was a ghost. I ended up going home. But all the while, like I feel different. Like I'm thinking different. I'm moving different. I'm being more intentional about what I give and how I feel. Like it's new. I'm feeling everything like it's the first time. Like, my love, the way I'm showing love, I'm giving the bigger hugs. I'm giving longer hugs. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you I love you, and it was cool for about a week or two. Matter of fact, about a week. Next thing you know, I go in for a checkup, and I had a kidney specialist at the time who was trying to figure out what was going on with the calcium, because clearly it was a processing thing that was happening. So he said this is the first time in his life that he's ever seen somebody so young experiencing this, and he couldn't pinpoint what it was. And so he was like, I'm gonna put you in my book of rarities. Like, I'm gonna put you in my special book. Like, and I was like, oh yeah, me? But at the time when he tested me, he said that my levels were high again. And he was just lost again. And I'm lost again. My wife's lost again. And I ended up right back in the hospital. And this time I'm like, God, Like, you're gonna have to tell me something. I need to know if I'm dying. Let me know. If I'm dying, let me know I'm dying. If I got another chance, like, give me a sign, give me an expression that I'm not just going through this just to leave here. Like, I want more. I want more out of life. I want more for myself. I want more for my family. I want more from love. I want more. I want more. And I just remember this time, I'm the emotional one. Because at this point, like, it feels like there's no way out. This is the end. I'm just thinking to myself, like, what does this really look like? And so I started asking those questions, and true enough, it started formulating even more regrets. It started formulating more desires. It started to change me in a way that I hadn't felt before. To be this kind of close to death was different than any other experience I felt before. Like I said, it was something that was uncontrollable. Without violence, without knowing that somebody's looking for me, without any of those influences outside, I didn't know. It was in me. And I didn't want to see nobody. I didn't want nobody to see me like this. Still, people came through. My bros came through. Hollywood, Mug, man, Sonya, Chris, everybody who loved me, you know, started showing their face. And it was crazy for me because I'm literally in my most broken place, in my most broken state, and love felt different. It felt like the last time I could love. That was a big deal because all I could think about was everything I didn't do, what I didn't say, what I didn't give. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to see the heights that I knew I possessed. I wanted to see the heights that I dreamed of. I wanted to see all of that. I wanted to see love in a new way. And I felt like this was just my last step. This was the last place. So it made me reconsider everything. It made me consider all of the things I complained about. It made me look at life different. It made me look at my provision differently. Thinking like, if these my last days, I wanted to be full. Even if I'm in this bed, I want it to be full. But if I get out of here, if these my last days in here, like, I'm gonna live it up. I'm gonna live it up, I'm gonna live it up, and I'm gonna live full. I'm gonna live to my capacity. Until one day, my doctor came to me. He said, you know what? This is my kidney specialist. He said, I wanna do a biopsy because I got some speculation that some of the stuff that we're dealing with, you may have seen before. Like, you know, my mother, she's dealt with sarcoidosis and things like that. So I found out I had an uncle who also dealt with it. And so that was one of the things that, you know, I informed the doctor of. So he said, I want to do a biopsy. And he said, I think I got a hint towards what it could be, but I won't say anything just yet. I won't be that kind of forward, but let's do the biopsy first and let's go from there. I said, cool. You know, at this time, I'm fearing the worst, but he came in and gave me a little more hope this time. And so this time was a little different because at least he feels like there could be an answer. You know, after all the speculation, after all of the questions, not knowing, after, you know, being labeled rare, and we get the biopsy done. A long story short, biopsy comes back, and he says, I think we found what it is. And I said, what? Like, yeah, he said, yeah, no worries. Okay, cool, no worries now. Now, it feel like I can kind of take a little load off because my biggest concern was not knowing. It's one thing to know. Like, not knowing, you can only assume the worst. You assume the most. And so he said, yeah, I think that we found it. Your test came back, your biopsy came back, IgA nephropathy, which is a kidney disorder in which, like, the kidneys don't process what it needs to process properly. And I said, okay. He said, with that being said, like, the fluids definitely help. He said, but you may have to get on some kind of medication to help regulate what that looks like. I said, oh, bet, that's easy then. Like, if that's all it takes, like, that beats everything that I was fearing, you know what I'm saying? So here I am now, full of hope, you know, and like, this is a game changer, because out of nowhere I was hit. Like a Mack truck hit me with all of this stuff. And now I finally got some kind of resolve. Now I know. And tell you the truth, even if I'm gonna go out, I'd rather know. So me knowing was everything. Me knowing was every kind of hope I could give myself, but also to my family. So everything that I was considering like has become real to me now. Everything. So I'm trying to give my all. And so we get out, and I remember one day I was driving down the street. I'm over here worried about money, you know, trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay these bills, you know, worried about everything that we gotta worry about, you know. And God was speaking to me while I was driving. It brought me to tears. And one of the things he said is, he said, have I not provided? And I was like, what you mean? And my mind automatically starts going to, you come from the projects. You was living in poverty, and look at what you're living in now. You got you a 2-story home, you got 2 cars, you got all of this stuff. And literally, before I left the projects, I had already settled in my mind that I could live like this. I could live just like this and be okay. And he's showing me the overflow. If I was living in an apartment, it would be fine. If I was living in an efficiency, it would have been okay. If I had to take a bus, it would be okay. But he was just showing me, you complaining, but look at the overflow. And immediately I started to feel all of that guilt. And I felt all of that I was complaining about, like, Lord, forgive me. Like, you've done over everything that I could think of. Like, you've exceeded my expectations. And I didn't expect none of it. I don't deserve none of it, quite frankly. There's nothing I did that would merit the blessings that God gave me, from the wife that I have, the family that I have, to the way that I'm able to live, to the ministry and the talents that he's placed in me. Like, there's nothing in me that would warrant any of those blessings, but he saw fit. So it started making me see life different. And that's where I started writing those songs like Corpus and Last Days, where literally I got the chance to think and see beyond myself and into the other people that I'm supposed to be touching with my message, to the other people I'm supposed to be ministering to, but also to the dead lives that we live, chasing everything else but God, chasing everything else but what's good, just the pleasures. And I recognized that I was driven by my pleasures in a lot of cases, but this experience really changed me. It changed my mind. It changed my mind. And I was able to really see life from a different lens. So to say the least, I really recognized that there was more to give when I thought I was putting out enough. But, you know, what is enough? And when you fighting for your life, what is enough? When you just want to see your kids again, what is enough? When you want to see your wife one more time, what's enough? When you just want to give one more time. And so that's what I live on today. Today, I live on those hopes. Today, I live on the idea that I can make it. Today, I live on the idea that I'm stronger and I can give more. And no matter what that threshold looks like, there's always a little more to give. So even when I feel empty, I'm blessed. Even when I'm empty, God give me just a little bit more to give. And I love giving, so I give. And if you know me, I'll give my last. You feel me? Like, you know I'll give my last, but I had an opportunity to really see life in a way that shook the foundation of who I am today. So I take this seriously. I take loving seriously. I take ministry seriously. I take my giving seriously. And I give to see others blessed. And so today I've adopted the saying, it's a blessing to be a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Just one more day. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to still be alive.